honestly, I've spent the last couple of months just talking about some of the worst drama and people on the internet. And sometimes on this channel, I like to take a break and kind of decompress by looking at some of the most vile people on the internet. And in turn, look at the most vile people on reality TV, because that really makes a difference. Now, if you didn't know, maybe you did, but I'm a huge fan of Catfish. I watched every single episode and rewatched the seasons over and over again, especially when I get into that depressed feeling.
Oh, tomato, 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 I'm throwing tomatoes.
Now, there are a ton of characters on Catfish. Some are terrible, and some aren't that bad. And some are influencers who use the show to either boost their follower count on different platforms or showcase their acting skills. Now, there's a handful of episodes where the quote victim gets catfished by an unsuspecting person, which just turns out to be a lie, and it's just a victim who made up an elaborate story in order to get on the show. Sometimes for 15 seconds of fame, or like the Taylor and Christian episode where Taylor used the show to try and boost her Instagram following. But who knows, maybe if this video does well, I'll cover that episode too. But today we are going to cover the Jaquan and Shantel episode that was season 8, episode 79. You know that season, where we got like almost 100 episodes just because almost every single episode was over Zoom and then half of the season was in person. Of course, with so many episodes, this one was bound to get lost in the sauce. But trust me, it's one of the most infuriating episodes to watch. Now, I hated this episode the most out of all of the episodes I've watched. This episode in particular, I've only ever rewatched this episode for this video. And even rewatching for the video was difficult. You can tell right from the start that this whole story is just complete cap. But let me stop myself because I'm getting too far ahead of myself. And I think we should just start from the beginning and watch this whole entire situation play out together. The beginning of the episode takes us into the office with Nev and Kamie, where they're reading an email. And it also takes us to Rochester, New York, where we meet Jaquan. But even before we meet Jaquan, Kamie and Nev read his email where he pretty much, in a nutshell, says that he's been talking to Shantel for 4 months and he's already falling for her. Jaquan then writes that it's weird that they never met because they live in the same city and she won't even FaceTime with him. And also adds that he just got out of a 10-year relationship, which at first had Kamie thinking that it was his ex-girlfriend. Now, when they call him, you can obviously tell that something's a bit off. From even the first interaction, it seems like Nev is already annoyed before he even meets Jaquan in person. And I'm not sure if they cut the cameras a couple of times or what, but it seemed like out of nowhere, Nev got annoyed by Jaquan asking him if the call was fake or not. I don't know, to me, I felt off watching that part of the episode because you can hear in Jaquan's voice that he's not being super serious. He pretty much just seems scripted. They hang up and they head to Rochester, and I'm sure you know the saying that first impressions are everything. For some reason, this first impression just screams attention seeking, at least for me. Jaquan has a chain on that says Fat Lives Matter, and this was in the middle of one of the most controversial and heated parts in the United States history, which was Black Lives Matter versus white lives versus all lives versus every type of life. And it just seemed like a little out of place and unorthodox for him to be wearing this chain, but yeah. Within the first couple of minutes, we find out that he's a content creator on TikTok. And I don't want to spoil anything by telling you what kind of content he makes, but trust me, it's nothing of value. Him being a content creator will come into play later on though, and I just want you to remember that as we move on. Jaquan also explains that he lost his dad a couple of months ago and Shantel was there to help him through it and not add a bunch of pressure like with people asking him if he's alright or if he needs any help. He says that he was just able to talk to her without feeling pressured into feeling better about his dad passing. Which, a side note, would be crazy if he was lying because he doesn't seem like he has an ounce of emotion when he says this. But again, everyone deals with grief differently, so maybe his dad did die and he's trying not to show his grief on the show. But later you'll see why I questioned this in the first place. I think the first red flag was when Jaquan shows them pictures of Shantel on his phone and Kamie keeps swiping and comes across screenshots of their conversation. To me personally, it seemed like this was planned so that Nev and Kamie don't ask to see their text messages because they already saw some interaction between the two through the screenshots. I have an odd feeling that if they would have asked to see the text thread, that there would have been a different outcome. Or Jaquan would have just said that he deleted the thread randomly because they got into an argument. Again, I don't think that I've ever seen Nev or Kamie not asked to look at the text convo, but this time they didn't, which is weird to me. Nev and Kamie leave and say that when they come back, that they should find even more information out about Shantel, or whoever is catfishing Jaquan. When Nev and Kamie get to researching Shantel, they first open their email to see if Jaquan sent them the information that they wanted, which he did. He said that he asked his ex of 10 years if she would want to be questioned by Nev and Kamie or be on the show. But she told Jaquan that she wanted to stay out of it, which again had Kamie saying things like it was suspicious. Oddly, in this email as well is Jaquan's TikTok page, which really wasn't needed. I don't even think that they asked for it when they were there. Like when they usually tell the victim to send them whatever they had about Shantel or about the catfish. I feel like this doesn't pertain to Catfish at all, or Shantel at all. I feel like this was when I realized that this whole situation was capped to get on TV, because when Kamie and Nev look at Jaquan's TikTok account, they see that he has a ton of followers and gets a ton of views. Kamie is quick to say that maybe Justin and Jaquan are using them for content and to showcase their TikToks, and Nev finally agrees that he can't trust what Jaquan says anymore because he sees how good of an actor he is through the TikToks. From the TikTok page, they see Jaquan's Instagram, which showed him and Justin on a phony court show where Justin was suing Jaquan for like $2,000. This show was obviously bogus, but they will still ask Jaquan and Justin about this later on. During their investigation, they searched the number that Jaquan was texting, and the number came back linked to someone named Shanita. When they looked to see if Jaquan is following her, he wasn't. And Kamie even tries to tell Nev to just look up Nita for short. But still, they come up empty. They both say that they should see if Justin was following Nita, and he was. And Nita was following Justin back, which makes Nita and Justin the main suspects as the catfish. On the way back to Jaquan's house, Kamie and Nev both think Jaquan and are now looking to see if he will lie to them even more. When they get to the house, Nev immediately asks Jaquan about the court show, and Jaquan says that he wasn't able to talk about it in the beginning because they make them sign a contract. And I feel like this again is just a lie to get Nev off of his tracks, because I feel like those phony court case like shows, they don't go past the bare minimum of just having them on TV. If they can talk to each other, I'm pretty sure they can talk about the situation to their friends. I don't think you actually have to sign a contract. This is just a get out of free jail card, and Jaquan is playing it quite well here. Nev then breaks down why they thought that it could have been Jaquan and Justin playing them to just get on the show, which honestly is exactly what happened. But Jaquan says no, and that it may seem like that's what's happening, but it's not. But look at the smirk when he says no. This is obviously a lie, and he's probably panicking inside, realizing that his whole plan is foiled. But he keeps saying that he is genuine and how it's not a ruse in order to get on the TV show. When Nev asks him why he doesn't think it could be Justin, Jaquan says, "I don't know, I just trust him." Which I think I'd lose a ton of trust with my so-called friend if they try to sue me for money. But hey, that's just me. Now they say that he shouldn't trust Justin though, because he is following the catfish. They show Jaquan Nita, and he notices that he recorded a skit with her already. They asked Jaquan if he was already talking to Shantel when they recorded the skit, and he said yes. And now all of a sudden Jaquan is hurt and looks pretty sad. Nev asks Jaquan if he's okay, and he smirks again and acts like he's not okay. Nev and Kamie regroup and both say that they can't tell if he's lying or not, but to me he definitely is. Even before I saw the outcome of this episode, I already knew he was lying. Nev messages Shantel and asks to meet up, which they do, and the moment that it's revealed that Nita is the catfish, that's when stuff hits the fan. Nita walks up crying, and Jaquan says, "Why is she crying? Why are you crying? I'm the one who should be crying."
Why is you crying? I should be crying. Why you crying?
It wasn't all a lie though.
Nita has the worst acting ever here. She's not really even crying, and the moment Jaquan questions her and asks her why she's crying, she instantly snaps and gets defensive. Nita tells Jaquan that it was all Justin's idea and how it was supposed to be a joke, but it kept going and now it's falling back on her. Jaquan pretty much stops talking and tells Nita and Nev that he wants to talk to Justin. And he shuts down and he continues to say, "I want to talk to Justin, and where's Justin?" a ton of times. Nev eventually gets Justin to show up, and when Justin gets there, he tells Jaquan that he did it because Jaquan was ruining the business because he couldn't get over his ex and how depressed he was. Kamie clocks this and says that Nita said that it was a joke, but now Justin is saying it was to help focus Jaquan. Kamie in this conversation also says that it makes no sense because it would be more of a distraction for Jaquan than help. They end up separating everyone, and it seemed like Nita was going to come clean to Kamie. Obviously, I thought she would have done that too, because the story at this point is all over the place, and it makes very little sense. And because none of their stories align with each other, it would have been perfect just to be like, "Oh yeah, this was all just a joke. It was all just a joke. It was a prank. It was a way for us to get on TV." But Nita doesn't crack, at least not yet. Now, to save you all of this nonsense of them going back and forth, Justin talking to Jaquan saying hopefully they can get back to friends, and then Jaquan just saying like, "Yeah, we'll see." It's just like all filler content right at the end. But just to save you all that trouble, at the end of this whole thing, Justin and Nita's mics were hot as they were walking away, and Nita said this to Justin. which implies that Nita was probably trying to say that they should have just said that it was all fake because everybody would have known anyways. Even if the next part of this video didn't come out, then everybody would have known that Justin and Jaquan were just faking it. At the end of the episode, right before the update segment, Nev and Kamie get back on video at the office and say that the whole thing was fake and staged, and how Justin and Jaquan were both texting back and forth throughout that week, telling each other that they wish they could hang out. Nev wants to see if they will come clean after he tells them this new information on Zoom, but when he says this to them, they both pretty much said that they didn't know what Nev was talking about, and then abruptly they said that they had to leave. They never admitted to it and came out looking like attention-seeking people. So this was a terrible episode, which got even worse at the end. Jaquan and Justin pretty much did this for no reason though, because it's not like Jaquan got this big break from being on Catfish. His follower count on his TikTok sits at 250k, which isn't a huge leap from his followers when the show first aired, the episode. And Jaquan barely even speaks about the episode. Probably to distance himself from how it made him look terrible, and he probably didn't want a bunch of Catfish fans who saw the episode to come into his comments calling him a liar. That and Catfish blurred out his TikTok and Instagram handles. So the show pretty much said no free clout. Now I'll show you some of his most viewed TikToks and let me know if you'd find them funny or not.
Yo, hold up! Yo, what baby is this? Yo, what baby is this?
Ain't no baby.
Oh, snap! Oh, my bad, bro.
Fuck, man.
My bad, bro. My bad, bro. My bad, bro. What's up, guys? I can't fit in my house bathroom no more, so I gotta take a shower outside in the pool. Only way I can take a bath, 'cause I can't fit in the bathroom no more, y'all. Pray for me.
They found out he was an undercover cop after trying to rob him.
See, they're not even that funny, and that's what I was talking about in the beginning, where it's content that is kind of like bottom of the barrel. We make jokes about him being fat, or Justin being short, or just like random things, which is, I don't know, not my cup of tea, I guess. His YouTube account sits at 175,000 subscribers, which all come from his shorts content that he makes with Justin. Jaquan is the definition of clout chasing and using terrible antics to try to get on a TV show for his 15 minutes of fame. It didn't matter to him if he looked like an idiot in the process. Now, what I found out over my years of doing YouTube is that clout chasers are like leeches to attention. No matter what type of attention they get, it fuels them to make even more content. We saw that with Jack Doherty, Topper Guild, anybody you would think of that are like Jaquan, where they just do things solely for the purpose of getting attention. They don't care if it's negative or positive. They just continue to do it and continue to push out really terrible content just in hopes that they can get some views. Because all you have to do, realistically, is just turn off the comments or hide the comments, just if you don't want that type of negativity on your feed. But have you seen this episode of Catfish? Let me know in the comments down below if you have. While you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel and comment which episode I should check out next. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.